Hi, so today I am working on my Peppermint Lane limited edition. These are leftovers that I had, scraps. I've pieced them together. Here is one bag that I made. You can see the different pieces where I sewed them together to make a bag. So I thought I would bring you along today and show you how I do that. So this is my big, huge bag of scraps. I just started throwing them in here. So I've got all different kinds of sizes. Strips that are pretty long. I've got smaller ones. I've got this size that's maybe an inch that would actually go really good with these longer ones. I've got some of this. You can see I've already pieced some of it together. Here's another one that I put together. And what I could do is go and make a pouch this size and have two different sides. Those would work. I have this one that's already together. I could continue adding more and more pieces. So what I'm going to do is turn you around so you can see my sewing machine and see if I can get you in focus and everything. So what I did is I went through here and I separated scraps. So I have a pile of nutcrackers. I have this, I called it black ornaments just because it's midnighty color. I have Holiday Cat. Right here, the Whimsy is Candy Cane Lane. Peppermint Swirls is Scout, I believe. Ginger Snap is the blue gingerbread. And then the pink is Sugar Plum. And the Holiday Dogs, I want to say is Holly, but I'm not sure. The Nutcracker that I have here is not in the limited edition, but I would like to know which one would you like, or which one do you recognize yourself in, and I will give you all the details on that. And so what I did is I started with this little square that I had cut off right here. It's this one, and I added these two little pieces. Then I added these two together and put it here. I'll do another one, but I wanted to add a little bit more to this, and then I'll show you how I did it. So all I'm doing is I'm lining up my pieces with a straight edge. Don't have to be straight, like 90 degrees straight or all that. We're just doing one line. And you can see this is 3/4 of an inch. This tiny one here was 1/2 an inch, and I got that much out of it, which turned out really good. I was going to throw the piece away. So what I do is I sew down to this end, and you can have smaller scraps or bigger scraps, and I'm just going to trim that off, and that gives me kind of a straight edge. Then what I've been doing to help these lay down, because they are bulky, is I'm doing a edge stitching. What do you call that? Oh, like 1/8 of an inch to the side of the seam. So you can see right here, it's really close. I'm going to go down the other side just because my seam will go on both sides. Normally when I am sewing like this, bigger pieces, or doing bigger ones, I try to have the seam going one way. But on these little pieces, they just kind of go every which way. You can see here, this one's going that way, and then it came over here. But I do try to sew them to where they're laid down. This one needs a little more sewing to help with some of that bulk. This is one little bag I made from these scraps. You can stop here if you want, or you can keep adding till you have bigger pieces like this. And you could still cut out these smaller ones. So like right here, you could cut it out right there and have that. You just never know where it's going to come out at. I like both. So I have this big, long, pretty one that I'm working on. This one I was trying to show you how I was adding the long pieces to it. But again, it wasn't filming. I have these that I put together that I think look really good in the directions they're going, just from the scraps that I had. We'll take this one, and we're going to start right here, like this is the middle square, like this one. That's big enough. We can do that. What I did to get this little itty bitty lines right there, the little pieces, is I just took a slim piece that I normally would throw away, and I'm going to do a really small seam, maybe 1/8 of an inch, a little bit more, so you can barely see it right here, and there's the end. I'm just going to trim that. Now, normally I throw those pieces away, but I'm finding right now that these make really nice pieces to go for, you know, to bring out a highlight. I don't like using it after I figured out I could move the pressure foot up and down. So now I've got a piece here, which that's what we did here. Right there's a piece on this one and there. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this other little piece on the other side just to give it that color and frame. I guess I will pull these other couple that I threw in the garbage away. So, I mean, they're just little, but I think it is turning out pretty cute. That's experimenting for you. So see, I just sewed down the edges right here on both sides. So now we've got a bigger piece. So see how it's fitting more into this center, how this is starting to build. I'll use this. We'll just take it. And this is kind of like log cabin too. So these little strips can be used like this, and they can be used in bigger pieces just to offset them. And this is definitely not a fast process, but to me, when I'm stressed and I'm just getting aggravated with everything needing to be perfect and I can't sew perfect, this is something that I go to and start putting together. So now I would like to put this over here, so I still need a piece right there that would finish that length. I could do the red. Let's try it. I still need a little piece right there, so let's go this way because I want to save the red. I don't have a lot of red. So now I'm just going to sew this together. And the reason I have cotton and polyester is because I had both here, so I used what I had. And I actually like both of them. Okay, so now we got a piece that's a little bit bigger. I don't want that black up here, so I'm going to put it down further at the bottom. But look, I still got just a teeny tiny spot right there. So I'm going to try another one of these little pieces. I was going to throw it away anyway. So for me, this is relaxing. Just sitting here and cutting stuff and not caring. Well, I am kind of caring, but not caring. I do try to keep these extra strings from hanging out too much. So now I'm just going to put it together like this. See how it's fitting much better. It's still not perfect, but hey, that fits close enough. See, I got just a teeny bit over there, and that's okay. You don't have to be real precise about your 1/4 inch. I do anywhere from 1/8 of an inch to 1/4, and then I turn it around and I sew those seams down, which helps anchor it too. See how we're growing here? So all these little strings get stuck sometimes, so I try to cut them off. Go over to the trash can and trim them. So this is what we got so far. It would fit on here if we wanted to add it to this and make it bigger. But I think what I want to do is get these pieces kind of the same size, and one be the front and one be the back. I'm going to stick this right here. It's just that little sliver of a piece that I seriously normally throw away. But doing this with you guys today and saying, oh, well, let me just show you this, how it's not going to fit, I learned something new. See, and then just trim that off. So now I need something to go over here. And I really wouldn't mind having some pieced pieces. I don't really want gingerbread, or not that pink gingerbread. I want some of these others. See what I got over here. We can take a little bit of Holiday Dog and put him in there. Right there, maybe. I don't want the black. Maybe this pink. Not quite big enough. Yeah, that one will be wide enough. I'll slap them together. Now we got a piece that's long enough for that. Now you see my dog is going this way. This gingerbread's going that way. This one's going sideways. It doesn't matter when you're making a scrap quilt or a scrap piece, however you want to say it. Let's see. Yep. And I'm going to try and stay at 1/8 of an inch over here. I'm going to trim this down just a little. Since I got just a tiny place under there. So see how little that is just from that little piece? And you can tell I didn't do a full 1/4 of an inch. I just tried to stay on both of them. So it's looking pretty good, ain't it? We could put that right there. I think we will. And see how the little gingerbread wound up getting framed right there in that section. Would a full piece of black be too much? Or should I cut it down a little bit? What I'm going to do, and this is what you can do with your scraps, is just take your scissors and trim. What if I put that there? So these, I'm going to have a section in my store that it's going to be scrap minis, I think right now, but I'm going to get a different name for it. But I do have a few up already, so I could sew these together and make a bigger piece. So I'm going to go this way, like that. I could sew it that way, and then when you cut it out, you get even more of what's going on. Let's see. This one, I want to do something. That black is a little bit strong over there. What if we do this? And you can do it like this and kind of look at them and see what you think. I'll put some more pink there. I'm just going to cut this in half and I'm going to sew them together. I'll have a longer piece. I'm going to do it on this side. So see, it's going to hang over a little bit. I think I'm going to do it this way where that gingerbread is hanging on the edge. Since I'm going that way, I'm going to turn it over. So then I'm just going to trim. And there's our next piece. Now, if you just have regular fabric pieces like this, where you got a lot of them, you know, I do keep these too. You can do the same thing as go in here and make patchwork. Crazy quilting is what they used to call it. I'm not sure what they call it these days. I think I want some red in there. The red was looking good. I want to keep the longer one. Let's see, I think that's going to be too much red. I could go down to a smaller piece. I only had so much of this red, so I didn't get much out of it. I'm going to trim it there. I think, oh, look at that. Fit pretty good. This is just my thought process of how I go about putting these together if I have much thought. What if I did the red that way? Okay, so this red, put it over here, would help draw the eye that direction. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is just flip this over and sew it down. And then I'm going to take and trim this to where it's even with that one. Just trim it off like that. Look at the back. Back looks almost as cute as front to me. Sew those seams down again. See how it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And like I said, I could sew these together and make it bigger. And then when I cut my pieces, I would have even more variety. But these are, let's see, 5 by 6. So I could get a good 5 by 6 bag out of this. I would need to add some more over here. I don't know if I want that one though. right there. Could add this right there. And I feel like I need some black on the other side. I got one black here that I can work with. Well, no, I got two, but that pink just showed up more than the black, didn't it? I don't know if I put this over here, does that kind of bring it over a little bit? Makes just a little teeny tiny piece. So you just keep on sewing, then I'm going to trim this down because I didn't sew that. I actually need to catch that corner. Now, see, we just got a itty little bit of blue. You may not even see it in the end. So they're getting closer to the same size. Yep, I could pretty much take and just chop them down right here and have a bag, which this one would be, since I have the house here and that one going that way and that one going that way, I would turn that one around. I like that. Okay, so let's look at these longer ones since I was not videoing earlier. So now I've got these big long ones here. I'm basically doing the same thing, but, and you can see here I pieced these three together. This was one long strip. This is one. The black one's one long strip, and then this one's pieced. This one here is kind of the same. One piece all the way down for all of them except for here. Gives it some more variety right in here. But when you think about your bag, maybe this size bag, that's all you're going to get is that little bit of the front. You're not getting the whole thing. So you could do great big pieces like this and get them bigger like your panels started out with, or you could do the smaller ones like these. So I could put these together right here. They're about the same width. I need to trim it up just a little bit, and I could have a bag just like that. And then on this side, this one going this way, so I'd actually turn this way because the writing, if there is writing on it where you can see it better. But look how those two pieces almost perfectly matched. Trim that, and you still got this piece you can sew onto something else. Because I was sewing on my long strips a while ago, not knowing that I wasn't filming. Didn't help me in all this. Let's see. Okay. Let's see, this one is a really long strip. I don't know what I could do something with it like this, but I don't know what. Because doing this way, it's just not big enough to get a bag, to make a little bag. I don't know, some ideas with these. But then here's a blue one. I'm going to stick right here. And if you look, the snowman's going this way. I feel like this is going to be the way this one goes. And I'm not this picky. It is. See this one? This ornament's here and there. So I'm going to put, see how they're almost actually the same length, but they're different widths. I'm going to sew them together. So let's see what we get. Just going to move this one over. Doesn't matter which side sometimes. So see how close that is in length, which you could do when you trim this little piece off. So what I could do with this little piece is just add it right there. And it just brings color and variety into your bags. Then I got this little piece. So I'm doing both of these at the same time. But this is how I would do it. I need a little bit more to go there. So let's see what we can get to go on that one. I might just have it laying just like that on my desk. And I'm working on 3 or 4 different pieces at one time. So now I'm trying to push the seam to one side. And I'm just going to go edge stitch, which helps hold these seams down and gets rid of some of the bulk in the seam. So what I do, just like on the smaller ones, I'm sewing put stitches right along the edge right there, and I'm going to go on the black and do it too. Doesn't have to be perfect. So now we have this big beautiful piece. Let's see. Got another gingerbread, but I could put on that side. I do want some red in here though, I think. What do you think? Maybe right there. Got some pink. I could put on the end of this red like that. Let's see. one of these sides match better than the other. So these still aren't perfect, but I'm going to put them together. Or I could just slide it up until it was more that size, since these are a little bit small, and just trim that little, yeah, go a little bit further. There, now we got a little piece for that too. Like I said, I do go ahead and even sew these little seams down. It helps with the bulk. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this one, I think, right there. I'm not sure how this red's going to go with these. That's what's so unique about it. Alright, just line this up. You can see how it's not even the same size all the way down. Then I need another little piece down here. Should I do a little bit of red? Or, yeah, I think I will do a little red. Which side is bigger? This one. I'm just going to pull that out, and I'm going to throw these two together real quick. And just come back and start sewing again. And I'm looking right here too to see where I'm at. Then I'm just going to take and trim this off. And see what we got. So we don't have a lot of red, but that red looks good. And then sew it down again on the other side. And so I like that. It's looking really good. We can put this one on this side. I don't have any long enough. Let's see, I got this little bit. I want the blue because I was thinking about putting that gingerbread over there. Here's some more little gingerbreads. We'll cut the cat up a little bit. So I'm just cutting it, no measuring. I could sew it together like this, or let's just sew it in the middle of this one. Okay, so these cats do have a direction, so I'm going to make sure that they're going in the direction that I want them to go. Just because of the size, the way they're cut, they are going the direction that I want them to go. If they were sideways or something, I wouldn't worry about it. Okay. I can check and see. I still need quite a bit down here. So I do have more scraps somewhere. I just don't know what I did with them this time around. So this is how I just add more and more. Just one piece at a time. Now, as you can see, it takes longer than doing just one fabric. So if I was doing this, say this was a bag, I'm already done. Whereas these other little pieces, it took a while. You know, this could be folded this way and made into a bag. This one's a lot more work. Okay. Let's see. I still need some more down here. Alright. I'm just going to sew this on because I'm got a good length. And let me see where I'm at then. Make sure that I got my ups going up. Could do, I didn't want to do none of that, did I? What about the pink? The pink will actually fit right there. Okay, so I'm going to trim that off. So in my little bit of confusion over here, I've got all my little pieces flying around. That one's not quite big enough that way, but maybe that way it will bring that together. So for me, there is no right or wrong when I'm working on stuff like this. It's just whatever feels good. Now look, I still got a little piece, but what I think I'm going to do is leave it like that and trim that off a little. So see, I got that a little bit. I'm just going to trim it off to make a straight edge right there. So this piece is just getting bigger little by little as we go through and sew our smaller scraps to it. Let's see where we're at here. Some of the seams down. So it's looking really nice. Like I said, I could sew this piece on. So let's do it this way. So then we've got an even bigger piece that's going across here. We could cut it to where this is going up this way, or we could turn it and have our bags going this way. So I'm going to continue working on these. Thanks for hanging out with me today while I work through these scraps. As you can see, these little pieces grow into something beautiful, one seam at a time. I hope this inspires you to use your own scraps instead of tossing them out. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.